Hi there, Joe DiSalvo here, managing partner of Quest Capital and Risk Management. And this short video, we're going to talk about taxes. In particular, we're going to talk about the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, which is the current tax law. It was a massive piece of legislation. And at the time, it really affected everybody out there. There was nobody that was not affected by the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And the way that law was written is it's expected to sunset at the end of this year. And really, if you think back, it was President Trump's signature legislation in his first term. On the campaign trail, he campaigned hard around the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. Among a lot of things that he said at the time was he wanted to make these rates permanent. He wanted to cut corporate taxes, further. And he wanted to do a whole host of other things like not tax Social Security, make auto loan interest, tax deductible, whole bunch of different things. Nobody knows where this is going to really shake out when all is said and done. But what we are fairly confident about is that both tax rates and tax brackets will stay the same. And it's hard to imagine that the SALT cap is going to go away. Now, we say that we feel rates and brackets are going to stay the same for the simple reason if you just kind of backdrop, what we're all feeling in terms of inflation, it's kind of hard for politicians, I think, to kind of get excited around actually increasing tax rates on really almost every taxpayer in this country, regardless of the income or net worth spectrum. So that's why we think rates and brackets will stay the same. When you think about the SALT cap, right, really the bottom line is it removing that SALT cap removes $140 billion a year from the Treasury, right? So we don't see that happening either. Nor do we think it's very likely that the Tax Cut and Jobs Act is made permanent, right? It's very, very hard to believe that President Trump's going to get everything that he wanted and that he talked about on the campaign trail. And we really say that because in just a few short weeks, I would imagine, we're going to start to hear a lot about the debt ceiling. And the debt ceiling is going to be the kickoff to what will be a season filled with a lot of noise about tax legislation changes that are going to happen certainly sometime in the year 2025. And we don't think it's going to be permanent in any way because although everybody was very aligned on the campaign trail, once they start to kind of go into their individual budget meetings and they have to start to think about what's best for their constituents, even though they will most likely pass whatever tax legislation they're going to pass this year, they're going to do it through budget reconciliation, which is exactly the way they did 2017. And the long and short of budget reconciliation, it requires a simple majority vote in the Senate of 51 people, and you can't add to the debt over a 10-year period, right? So that's how they passed the first one. That's how we believe they're most likely going to pass the second one, right? So the question is, how are they going to pay for all this? Well, obviously, I think one of the things that from everything we are reading and listening to, we think the SALT cap probably remains in play. The other place they're going to pay for this because extending those tax rates and brackets is going to cost approximately $4.6 trillion. Well, tariffs, depending upon whose numbers you want to use, will generate between 2.2 and I think $3.6 trillion. So that'll take a pretty big chunk of it. And the other thing that's really going to be looked at is the IRA and repealing the IRA and not the individual retirement account, but President Biden's legislation called the Inflation Reduction Act. And so there's going to be a lot of ways that they could trim there as well. I think the bottom line and the good news is I think we look at the last 9 years and we think it was the golden age of tax planning. You had some of the lowest rates in history of this country, and we're talking about 100 years worth of history there, in which to really plan for your lifetime tax liability. These rates and these brackets are probably not going anywhere at this point in time. So I think the good news is you really do have more time, maybe a window of another 5, 7, 9 years. I'm not sure what that will be in order to really manage your lifetime tax liability down. And in some cases, it will come down significantly if you proactively plan for these things. I think what we're going to be doing from here is on a fairly regular basis, we are going to try to be the signal filtering out all the noise around the impending changes. We expect these changes to happen in the latter part of this year. Whatever's going to be finalized, that's when it's going to happen. And I think the other thing we're going to do is we're going to start to release some educational videos of no matter where you are in life, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, here are the things that you want to pay attention to based upon the current legislation that we have today and where we think things are going to go as the story starts to unfold. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.